This is a high-level overview of one of our BizCore forecasting pro formas. This one is for a service type business. We have four different ones: services, products, lodging businesses, and food businesses, and they're all set up pretty much the same way, with a couple differences between each that I'll go through and show you. But each of them are going to have a series of tabs. In this case, there's 9 tabs. The first 2 are summary sheets to display results of everything else. The first one is some high-level snapshots of what your startup costs are, financial summary over 5 years, and then the jobs created. And then this is a cool little widget here where you can actually pull up any particular month. Now, all of this can be modified during training and tweaks. There's a certain number of hours included with each of our products. And so we can adjust this to include things. We can even add more to the side if you want to do certain types of comparisons. The next sheet is another summary sheet, and this is our income and expense. And so 5-year summary, and then 60 individual months. And there's nothing to enter on this particular page because this is a result of everything else that's calculated over here. And what you get from this is going to be your revenue, your G&A expenses, and then it's going to bring you down to a net cash flow, net profit, and then your EBITDA. Now, this is the engine of any business. A good analogy here is if you thought of this as a car. This is the engine of the business. This is where you're going to be projecting all of your core operations. So this is set up for a services business, and you're going to have your labor in here. You're going to have your management, the operating hours of this particular area. And because the market trend in service today is highly customized services, we do have a small, simple parts calculation here as well that can be included in each of your services. Down here, you're going to actually create all your different services by category. You have your labor here, and as you fill this in, these actually go into drop-down lists that get automatically created over here. And so you're going to program your service. You're going to see how profitable it is. You're going to determine your business capacity based on how many hours you're operating and how big of a staff you ultimately want to have. Then you're going to take those numbers and it flows into an operating projection for just this department, just your service department. And this is where really all your deep data gets created for your business. You know, we've all heard about deep data and big companies, big enterprises, creating deep data. But this is how you can actually create your own personal deep data for your particular business and not somebody else's idea of how your business should be. The next area, so if you think about this as being the engine of the car, everything else is the rest of the car. So you have G&A expenses, general and administrative expenses, that are really associated and come from running the rest of the business outside of your business core. And so G&A expenses, one of the things I've never liked about this G&A expense worksheets is there were too many plug numbers. I don't like plug numbers. We have a section here where calculations from other worksheets come in, and then different ways of entering different types of expenses, whether they're monthly expenses or they have a particular start date. Another pet peeve of mine is having to manually go in over here into your monthly expenses and add those numbers or change schedules, so on and so forth. So everything you see in green is a data entry spot. Everything else is a result. I do have a section here for direct entering, so that can still be done. It also is able to account for receivables and put in certain lags on receivables. And here again, calculates down to net cash flow. What's your monthly cash on hand amount? Then determining net profit by making some adjustments, and then we have an EBITDA. Also, we have this distribution table here for the owners. You set your minimum cash balance, which is your cash on hand, and then any month that it's over that, it's going to automatically figure out what the distributions are out to the various owners. So that's our G&A input. Then marketing and advertising. Here, we look at it a little bit of a different way. Services and labor is going to determine, what you're setting your income projections at. In this case, we're projecting a total revenue of $243,540. So if you come over to marketing and advertising, that becomes the goal for month one. Then in here, you're going to program what types of advertising you're planning on doing, how much of that you're expecting to generate your business, and then it's actually going to create your marketing budget required to reach that particular sales goal by the type of advertising and marketing you're going to do. On the admin staff, this is another worksheet. This is a pretty dynamic worksheet. You have all these different positions that are salary based, and then you have hourly based employees in your admin staff. So this takes all your calculations, all your costs associated with it. There's additional fields if you have other costs. There's an annual increase field, and then this is pretty cool. This is where you actually start this position and start this salary. So rather than having to come in and project and manually place where everything goes, it will automatically show up in the month that you designated it's going to start. Then 12 months after each start, it calculates that annual increase. And so you can see here, 12 months after he started, month 16 now was the pay increase. Capital expenditures and startup costs. This is a pretty interesting worksheet here, where here again, everything in green is changeable. Different ways of categorizing your startup costs. These can be anything you want to name them. And then you have your budgets for these different areas, and then you allocate that particular cost over to a particular funding source. This funding source then gets totaled up down here. Anything that you put into a loan or a lease will automatically come over to a loan and lease schedule. Now, these are very dynamic loan calculators and amortizers. Each one of these can accommodate just about any type of financing: leases, loans, interest-only periods, balloon payments, different length of term. So these are very dynamic. And here again, you have a start month of when this particular payment starts, and it'll automatically show up into your G&A worksheet. So that's how the loans work, just in a high-level overview. And then, of course, depreciation. So this is a depreciation schedule that automatically comes in from anything that's depreciable from your CapEx table and startup costs. And then your depreciation is actually one of your adjustments that you make to get to net profit. So that's a quick overview of the way our forecasting tools are set up. Each BizCore for each of those specialized industries, services, products, lodging businesses, and food businesses are set up the same way. The engine part, the core of the business, this will obviously be different, but they do follow a very similar pattern. So if you are combining like products and services together, this will look very similar. So this is a high-level overview. There's other videos that go into deeper detail and also discusses some of the insights that you can gather from this. Also, I've been told by a couple people that I probably included too much here for the novice, but this really represents from 20 plus years experience doing this. If you're doing anything more than a lemonade stand, you really need to go to this kind of detail. And they can get bigger than this. I've done projection tools that are much more all inclusive than this. But this is really the basic for any kind of business. So we do have some add-on modules. So I hope you explore the rest of the website, watch some more videos, and if you like this approach, we'd love to be talking to you about your business. Thanks for watching.